I want to ask you this as somebody who is a big poo-pooer of the NFL draft.
Mm-hmm.
What is the interesting thing about this draft for you?
I think the interesting thing about this draft is not knowing the sequence and order of picks really outside of one. Now, maybe we know two because it does seem like there's a lot of smoke there with Travis Hunter in Cleveland. Those are the kind of drafts that, to me, that are the most compelling. And I do think you have that this year. I don't think this class is as good as some other classes we've seen. I certainly don't think the quarterbacks are as good as we've seen just even last year, and let alone what's going to come next year if certain guys leave college early and head to the NFL. So I don't think the class is overall as good, but where you can rope me in and intrigue me is when we finally get to the start of the draft of now I have no clue how this thing's going to transpire and what pick is going to be made in the top 10 that's going to make us all who is going to be the Michael Penix of this year that make us all shout at our TV, what? They did what? Atlanta, who's that going to be? And I think you got a lot of cases where that might end up happening this year because even if Hunter goes number 2, you feel like then it's likely that Carter will go number 3. After that, who the hell knows how the rest of the first round goes.
What I would say with that, like, who is the what are they doing team? I don't quite know. It's hard to gauge based on all of the intel that is out there. One that's really sticking out for me is the minus money, like the overall favorite, overwhelming favorite, I should say, is Jeanty going to the Jags.
Jeanty to Jacksonville. Huh?
And I think Ashton Jeanty, I heard yesterday that he might be as talented and could very well be the next Christian McCaffrey type player.
Somebody did a floor and ceiling mock for him and said his floor was LaDainian Tomlinson and his ceiling was Walter Payton. I was like, oh, so he's either a Hall of Famer or a Hall of Famer or somewhere in the middle of a Hall of Famer.
He's an all-time running back.
Okay, all right.
No
pressure, Ashton. Go live up to it.
And I watched him play, and I think we could say, like, man,
dude, the
he
guy's
was doing
a beast.
Crazy stuff.
He's a monster.
Why would I guess I'm curious. Jacksonville's a rather under-the-radar interesting team. Their GM's 34. So he's got to be super analytical. Does it make value sense to draft a running back? Especially given how many holes they have?
Yeah, I don't know. The fit is all, it's all about the fit. I'm not opposed adamantly against taking a running back in the top 10, but if I'm Jacksonville,
there's a lot of running backs in this draft.
There are a lot of good running backs in this draft.
Hell, I think there's
one. I think there's one from Oregon who is not getting talked about at all that has a great chance to have an NFL career. And Bucky Irving was this last year in Tampa. Anybody who watched him would say, he's a hard runner. He's hard to bring down. He can catch the ball. Like, what's not to like? And then he slips a little bit because it's a running back position. And look at the value that Tampa got there. I think Jordan James can have the same NFL career. There is something about Jeanty, though. When you want, he just was so much better than everybody else.
Watching those defenders routinely every week just bounce off of him
it's
and
not,
break away for a 40-yard run for a touchdown.
It's not just that he's a good running back. We all know that. I would argue that there is a massive gap between running back 1 and running back 2 just based on what we saw in college, and that's where the intrigue of a top 10 pick. I don't know about Jacksonville. They got a lot of issues down there, and I don't know how much he would help in the short term for them.
Right.
But Jeanty going in the top 10 would not outrage me as a fan if my team took him.
And in terms of if you're in a spot where you just think you need to take the best player available, he's certainly top 10. I mean, everybody I've heard say he's maybe top 5 in terms of just best.
You go to the Jags, you're top 5
football players out there that you would put on a field.
Rossini says the Jags are hoping to keep this draft electric. So she's using certain words in a lot of I want to go through some of these teams and how she writes about each team because I feel like she's kind of like, hey, I'm telling you.
Nod, wink, wink.
They want to go with an electric pick on offense for their first-year coach, Liam Cohen, and James Gladstone, their GM.
I mean, who wouldn't want an electric pick on offense?
And an offensive player is on their radar.
Okay, electric offensive player, electric offensive pick.
Now, when you guys watched him in college, my only was doing it at Boise against San Jose State. And that's not necessarily fair because his measurables translate, I think, to any conference.
He did that to my team, too.
He did, yeah.
He did that to us.
He did that to us, too.
Yeah.
Not as bad as he did it to you.
Well, it was end of this. He was banged up. He was banged up at the end of the year.
He was banged up.
He's banged up, all right? A lot of carries.
But when you watched him, I actually watched him play and thought, Saquon Barkley, right? Breakaway speed, legs thick as tree trunks, defenders bouncing off of him. That's how I viewed him.
His overall yardage was number 1 in the country. The second leading rusher in college football last year was Ashton Jeanty after contact.
Yeah.
So his just overall yards was one.
An absolute beast.
Clear-cut number one. Number two was him after contact, and then there was a wide gap, and then it was like Cam Scatterbo, whoever was third. There was a massive gap there.
God, I hope Scatterbo has some kind of
Here's the thing,
career.
though, that just makes me chuckle this time of year. This is why part of me, I can't wait for it to get here because all of this stuff is
I feel like you can't wait for it to get done.
It's
is
not
how
done.
I'm reading
It's
you.
just I'm ready for the draft to start because Jacksonville's good.
3 hours.
Jacksonville wants an electric offensive player. Are they going to take Jeanty? It's a smokescreen. Do they really feel that way? Are they trying
It's
to
minus money in Vegas?
Are they trying to drive up the price? Are they trying to get somebody to trade? Do they not want somebody after them or before that? Like,
Do you think Diana Rossini is writing a smokescreen for them?
I don't think they know. Here's the thing about media reporters, dude. They're getting information from sources.
Why are you yelling at me?
I'm not yelling. I'm just raising my voice. That's what I tell my wife all the time. I'm not yelling. I'm just talking louder right now.
I thought we were going to get Mad Dog there for a second.
I just they're getting information from people, but also the sources in the NFL want certain information out there. They're not just giving
Is
hey,
there a benefit for
Diana,
Jacksonville to have
Diana,
this?
we're gonna take Ashton Jeanty. Don't tell anybody. Don't say anything. Like that's not how this works. It's like we really like Ashton Jeanty. Why don't you report that we're looking for an electric offensive player? I'm not arguing that just everyone is just being used, but I also think that, and I think organizations in professional sports, in all sports, this happens in our own market with information that is leaked and information that is given. It's like, yeah, there has to be a grain of salt with it, though, because they also want that information out there. There's a purpose for them to leak that information. And so I think Diana Rossini is an unbelievable reporter. I'm not saying she's doing anything questionable. I think she's reporting what is being told to her, which is exactly what an insider should do. But at the same time, these teams, general managers, coaches, there's a message at times that they're trying to get across. And so maybe Jeanty is the overwhelming favorite, and that's where he goes. And, hey, look, it was easy as that. I have to take it with the grain of salt of, is there a ulterior motive for all of this information getting out the day before the draft?